My name is Dietrich von Seggern. I'm working for Callas Software. Callas Software is a company from Germany, as I am. My presentation is about PDF A-3 and why is that actually practical and powerful. Let me first ask you a question. Who of you knows PDF A? Okay. Who of you uses PDF A? Okay. Who of you has some knowledge or understanding about PDF A-3 in particular? Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay. So first of all, usually this is more, I don't know, more about PDF A-3 as a particular use case for the PDF A case in general. I will start with a brief introduction into PDF A then. Please just give me the favor, I'm not a native speaker, so whenever something is not clear enough, or you just raise a hand or ask a question at any time. Okay. We start with the overview. So, and the first part will be, so what actually makes PDF A-3 different from PDF A-2 to PDF A-1? And this will also include an introduction into PDF A in general. Then I have some PDF A-3 use cases, because until then we will know a little bit about what actually PDF A-3 is, and then I want to answer, okay, when actually PDF A-3 does make sense, and then I have a conclusion and an outlook. PDF A is an ISO standard, and this is a kind of an overview about the 3 standard parts that belong to the PDF A family. Everything within this family is about archiving. It is about using PDF in archives. PDF A in general defines a subset of things that you can do in PDF, and that will make sure that this PDF file can be used in each and every environment today, and also in the future. So it does not just define how the PDF has to be designed, it also defines how a PDF is to be displayed in a PDF A compatible way. So in general, one can say PDF A is about archiving, about making sure that a PDF just works, and it always works independent of the environment. And having that said, and I will show that later on in my use cases, that also makes sense if you just exchange data with a customer or somebody else. So you may say PDF A is a way of sending a file into the future in a way that makes sure that somebody in the future will be able to see that file, but you can do the same thing as of today. So you can just take the PDF file and send it to somebody else. In most cases, it will just work, but with PDF A, you're sure that it will work. So that's about the PDF A family in general. And then I will explain why there are actually 3 different parts within this family, so 3 members of the family. And PDF A-3 in particular is about support for embedded files in the PDF A file. So PDF A-1, it's kind of the classic. It's frequently used for archiving. It's more used in Europe, I have to say. So I'm from Germany, so most of the archives in Germany are actually using PDF A. It came out in 2005, and it's just based on PDF. It's an ISO standard, so it's an international standard. And then PDF2 came out just 6 years later. And the main new thing there are a couple of new features in PDF-A2. These new features are just made possible because PDF-A2 has a newer foundation. So this was based on an older version of PDF. And in that version, for instance, this is just an example in this case, no attachments were allowed at all. While in the newer version, you can just attach other files to PDF-A. And because PDF-A is about archiving and has a concept about how to design a file that it has everything that you need in order to display it, it makes sense to apply this rule also to the attachments. So each and every attachment in PDF2 needs to be a valid PDF-A file. And then only 1 year later, A-3 came out. And now in this case, not just PDF-A files may be embedded, but arbitrary file formats may be embedded into if you want, PDF-A container. So I have a PDF-A container like an email with a couple of attachments. And here I have a PDF-A3 container with a couple of attachments. In addition to that, PDF-A3 has some rules how these attachments, they are attached to my PDF-A3 container. What metadata needs to be there for these files, and there is an indication about the relationship between the attachment and the main file. So whether this is a source, an alternate, or a supplement, the file type, the MIME type actually, like whether it's a Word file or XML file or whatever, and where this attachment actually relates to, whether it's the whole page, the whole document, a page object, or whatever. So this is kind of a very first summary. PDF-A1 and PDF-A2 are very clear. So they just define a reliable paper-like format for digital documents. And they also describe the properties of a PDF-A viewer. PDF-A3 now cannot actually guarantee the reliability for the whole container, including the attachments. And it can only guarantee that for the PDF-A, for the main PDF file, but not for the arbitrary attachments. So, and that actually has raised a couple of questions. Why did ISO actually publish such a standard? And that's the reason why I think, okay, it makes sense to just look at some use cases. And the first use case that I have is for Office documents. And you can also say, okay, it's like the source file is always in reach. We will see what that means. Let's think about Excel. I have an Excel spreadsheet. It's easy to convert that Excel spreadsheet into a PDF-A file in order to make sure that, I don't know, in 20 years, 50 years, whatever from now, when there is no Excel anymore that can display this Excel spreadsheet to me, I can make sure to be able to view that by just converting it to PDF-A, and we are pretty sure that there will be a PDF-A viewer around in whatever operating system that they will have at that time that will be able to display that file, so no problem. But if we think about Excel, if I convert Excel into a PDF file, I get rid of all my functions and formulas that are also part of the spreadsheet. So it may actually be nice to find in my archive in 50 years from now the robust rendering of the Excel spreadsheet so that I'm sure that I can display that. And if I am lucky and I have an Excel around, I can even find the attachment within that container. I can even find the Excel spreadsheet. So that is basically the idea of this concept. And we can take that one step further. So in this case, this may be an agreement, a contract or something that I exchange with a potential partner that I have. and I may want to, this may be almost final, I can exchange that, but if my partner wants to exchange that, I can still embed the Word file to it so that somebody who wants to modify that has access to that. But now I want to make sure that nobody is really able to modify that Word file without that I can see that. So what I can do, I can sign the PDF file as I've done over here, and I'm signing now the whole thing. So I'm not just signing the content of the PDF file, I'm also signing the Word file. And if somebody would just modify the Word file and re-embed it into the file, I could immediately see that because the signature will become invalid. Yeah. And that, by the way, would allow you also, which is technically not that easy, to simply sign the Word file. Clear so far? So this is a brief summary of this first use case. So we have a relationship between the attachment and the main file, and the relationship is it's a source, actually. It's a source file for my PDF file. I can use that for blind file exchange. I can archive at any time. So I have already created a robust rendering of the original source file, but I can still modify. But isn't that cumbersome? So I have my Word file, now I create a PDF file, then I take the Word file and embed that into the PDF file. So that is not just seeming to be something that I want to do on a daily basis. So, but there are tools around, like for instance, the current Acrobat PDF Maker from Adobe. It allows you to, just in the preference settings, it allows you to say, okay, I want to create a file that is compliant with PDF-A, and I want to attach the source file. And if I do so, I can, with a single click onto the export button, create a container and embed the original file. In this case, it would be a presentation. So I'm working in PowerPoint with the presentation, and with a single click, I create a robust rendering of the PowerPoint file of the presentation and attach the PowerPoint file to this container. So next use case, and that was actually the main idea behind PDF A-3, a file that is readable for humans and for machines in the very same way. And this is actually some standards that are built upon this PDF-A thing. And a first example, it's for electronic invoicing. It's a German standard. It's called Zugwert, and that defines a way how XML structure can be used for exchanging invoice data. The main idea here is that the sender of an invoice creates something, and this is enforced by German government in order to be used and in order to make electronic invoicing more easily. And the idea is no communication has to take place between the sender and the receiver of the invoice in advance. So the sender can just send the invoice, the electronic invoice, and the receiver can then decide whether he wants to use the paper-like PDF part of the invoice, or whether he wants to use the structured data, the XML, which is also present. And an accounting system that can deal with this XML Zugwert data can simply import that structure into the accounting system, and that allows you to easier work with the data and to easier and quicker transfer the actual money. And then there are similar standards from other countries. And another example for PDF A-3 with XML is a German Civil Registry Office. And this civil registry offices are required to save my personal data in an XML structure, but the people working in the civil registry offices, they don't like XML or reading XML so much. So what they are doing is they take the XML, embed it into a PDFA rendering of it, and save that. And in this case, we have another relationship. So in the previous example, we had a source relationship, and here we have an alternate relationship. So this is about the PDFA3 metadata. So final use case is a digital folder or a digital dossier. And in this case, we have, up until now, we always had a one-to-one relationship. So one attachment, one container. In this case, we have several attachments, like you may have in an email. So you can use an email as an example where you have arbitrary file formats as attachments. And you could easily convert an email into a PDFA3 file where the body of the email is the PDFA container file, and the attachments are embedded either as PDFA files or in their original format or both. So this is one use case, but the other, and this one I want to talk about a little more. That is actually, this similar thing is used in engineering and manufacturing. And we have been approached by a very big German car manufacturer, one of the biggest in northern Germany. And they actually came to us before PDFA3 was really available. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to embed 3D drawing CAD files into a PDFA thing. So they understood PDFA thing is a good thing to use, and they want to use it with their suppliers. They want to exchange data with their suppliers. They want to exchange that in a PDFA format. So in order to make sure that the receiver is able to read that, it's a robust data format. They understood that. But then they have these 3D drawings in a format which is called JT. And they wanted to embed that JT file into the project file that they wanted to exchange with their suppliers. They could use a zip container or something, but then the receiver would have to unpack the zip container, and then the receiver would have to make sure that the things are carried together in a convenient way. So PDF makes much more sense in this case, but they only wanted to, and they wanted to use PDFA because that even makes more sense, but they wanted to have an exception of the rule that a PDFA container can only contain other PDFA files. And so we've done that. So we programmed a PDFA validation thing, and which just allowed for this particular exception. And then another customer came, and they came after PDFA3 was actually available, and this is Sika from Switzerland. And I want to describe another particular thing or a benefit that you can actually take from PDFA3 with this use case. They are a manufacturer of actually glue, industrial glue and other chemical products, and they are used in critical environments like for bridges or vehicles. They do quality management, of course, for all their products because they are in critical environments. They had no legal requirements in order to save that, but they wanted to do that in order to be able to prove that they have taken decent care in order to make sure that they provide proper quality to their customers. They want to save all their project documentation in a digital way because then it's easier to retrieve, and they use this archive also as a knowledge base for future products. And now, and this is an interesting point, they had, of course, an archive system in order to manage and retrieve files from their archive. But then the provider of this archive system just died, went bankrupt, and they had to migrate all the content into a new archive system. And that was fairly easy. It was no problem to just take the files out of the old archive system and import the files into the new ones, so the documents. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the information, which document belonged to which project. That was only in the archive system. There was no way to export that from the old archive system. So what they had to do is they had to rebuild that information in the new archive system that they were using. And that was kind of a very painful thing to do because it involved lots of manual work. So what they said, okay, within our new system, we want to make sure that a project knows, the project file itself should know which documentation, which other files actually belong to the project. And then they can just export the project file and import it to another system, and this other system just can immediately see which files belong to each other. So, and then there were a couple of additional requirements. So they wanted to use a standard format, and that's what I've just described, a standard format to archive their projects as a project, not just the single documents. And they wanted to have an index file. I'll show you later on what that is. Creation should be done in an automated way. And there are also the metadata, of course, needs to be in the result files. And there are many, many projects and many, even more attachments. And this is the system, how it looks. So this is it's a vendor called Hype, which provides the project management software. And if a product is released by Sika, it's just automatically converted into a PDF A3 file. And this is the index file that I've mentioned, and this is the project documentation for a particular glue that they have. And this index file just has links to actually they are using Office files, mainly it's a Word file and an Excel spreadsheet, and both are in this container file, an original format, as well as in PDF-A rendering. So it's another use case, PDF-A3. In this case, we have a relationship supplement. So we had source before, we had alternate, now we have supplement. And in this case, I just have various file formats that I want to combine with each other to a dossier, to a folder, to a project. And these file formats have richer content than my PDF-A rendering. So these are my use cases. And now I want to get to a brief summary, if you want, of what I have said. So this is a summary. What are actually when actually makes PDF-A3 sense to use. So first thing was if the document is still alive. So I have an Office file, for instance, and a robust rendering, my PDF-A file. And I can combine each other. Or second use case was XML, like readable for humans and for machines. And the third use case was a digital dossier where I have a movies, audio files, or in this case, a CAD file, CAD file, and combine all of them to a dossier. And then PDF-A1 and PDF-A2 are always archive formats. They are frequently used in archives, but increasingly also in data exchange. And the good thing about PDF-A1 and PDF-A2 is if you have an archive, you can simply just do a validation whether this is really a PDF-A file, and then you're done, and you can put that file into your archive, and you're sure that you will be able to read that file and to render the file in whatever years from now on. With PDF-A3, you have a slightly different situation. So the full validation is only possible for the PDF-A part of the content. It's not possible for any attachments that are not in PDF-A. So you may want to apply additional rules here, like that would allow you to find out whether a particular PDF-A3 file, for instance, has only a single Excel file attached to it and nothing else, or only a single XML file. So it's not like with PDF-A1 and PDF-A2 where you just say, okay, I validate the whole thing and then it's done, I'm safe. From an archive standpoint, you would want to apply additional rules that are individual and specific to your solution and to your own processes. I'm pretty much at the end of my presentation, so I hope it was able to explain a little bit. I've understood that you're not that much in the PDF-A area, and then I tried to explain just in particular use case of PDF-A, but this is really something that is being used. So thanks. Any questions?
Yeah, the file that gets embedded, does it get compressed at all, or does it stays?
Yeah, that I forgot. So PDF, it has not to be the case, but all PDF creators that are able to embed files, and there are many around, and that is of course also compatible with Reader and everything. So, but usually everything is zip compressed that is embedded into a PDF file in general, not just PDF-A3. And you may think of such a container, a PDF container with attachments like a replacement of a zip archive. But it has the advantage that this stays together and you have an immediate rendering of it. So you don't have to unzip everything in order to see what is in there.
So I can select which files to extract it out of.
Right. You can do that with the reader. You can just double click it and it will ask you what you want to do with it. And so.
So what do you see coming down the pike as it relates to like PDF A4? Like, I mean, where conceivably is this, you know, obviously there's been kind of an evolution of the standard. Like where is it?
Okay, yeah, this is a good question, yeah. There is no action taking place at ISO to come up with yet another PDF-A standard. So it's
maybe some things that got left off the chopping block during the A3 process. Like, I mean, because obviously attachments they were probably under consideration for A2, but they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to figure out if there were things that were discussed.
No, I think PDF-A is, I think 99% of all PDF-A files around in the world are PDF-A1 files. And that already proves that ISO did a good job. Then they learned a little bit, and then they tried to base everything on we have heard this morning that PDF is now an ISO standard itself. So the main difference between PDF-A1 and PDF-A2 is that PDF-A2 is now based on yet another ISO standard, which was not the case for PDF-A1. So this is the difference between one and two. And then there is, and these are kind of different to PDF-A3, because PDF-A3 introduces a new model, if you want, where not everything is just self-contained and robust. There is an exception to that, and that can only be understood, I think, by means of use cases where it actually makes sense. So, but ISO and the specific committee at ISO has very well understood that it needs some education towards the market in order to understand the overall concept of PDF-A. And for this reason, ISO has decided to not, as of today, to not further work on this. And that was one reason. And of course, the other reason was there is no real need to do that, because there's a whole industry and that is very satisfied with what is there. Any other questions?
Does SAP now support third invoicing? Does SAP support third invoicing?
Yeah, not SAP itself, but there are a few plugins or extensions to SAP around that work with that. So same for Microsoft Dynamics, NAV, which is Navision. So there are solutions around. Yeah. For this particular e-invoicing thing, huh?